Hello, welcome to Michelle Loses It. I'm Michelle. On this channel, I am taking you along with me as I follow the Calibrate weight loss journey from start to hopefully finish. If that sounds like an interesting concept to you, then please stay tuned. Okay, so let's just catch up on my current goals. So, as always, since day one, my first goal is to drink 120 ounces of water every day. It took me a while to get there, but I got there, and I've been fairly consistent with drinking 120 ounces of water a day. I have not been able to get it in prior to 6 p.m. It still takes me through the end of the day to get it all in, but I am getting it all in. I weigh myself every day. I track my red foods in the Calibrate app. Over the last couple of weeks, that has been 0. I track my energy levels every day, and those are up and down. Some days I'm just like, yes, let's do it. Today's a really good energy day. Yesterday, not so much. My other goal is to get 8 hours of sleep a night. I'm usually at like the 7.5 mark. Today I was like 8.5. But yeah, I'm usually 7.5, 8. So I feel pretty good about that. And then right now I'm following the Jumpstart food triangle, which I've mentioned before is no red foods. On the other food triangles, so the intro, and then when I get to the weight loss, they reintroduce red foods. But red foods are foods that you should have as few as possible when you're allowed them. But on the Jumpstart challenge, it's a 2-week, well, I thought it was a 2-week challenge. There's no red foods, and I'll get into that in a minute. All right, so I met with my coach yesterday. I have a bi-weekly meeting with my coach. It's the same coach every week, and we just got caught up on, how my progress has been, where I'm struggling, and she helps me devise, strategies when I'm struggling. I really haven't been struggling too much over the last 2 weeks with the Jumpstart challenge, surprisingly. My biggest struggle is getting my water in before 6 p.m. And I don't know, I struggle with getting that in. The one thing that confused me when I was talking to her is that she said that I still have 1 week left of the Jumpstart challenge. I thought it was a 2-week challenge, and I've been on it for 2 weeks now. And so I don't know, and I don't know if she was understanding that I was like, well, why do I still have a week left when I've been on it for 2 weeks? And she seemed confused on why I'd been on it for 2 weeks, but the app, I get all of my lessons through the app, and that's what tells me like when I start like the next challenge or the next goal. And so maybe I misunderstood. Maybe the first week was prepping for the Jumpstart, and so I was just supposed to, I mean, how much prep does it take? Like, I've been tracking my red foods for several weeks before the Jumpstart challenge. I don't know, I'm a little confused on that. It's not a big deal. I haven't been struggling with eliminating the red foods over the last couple of weeks. Once I am through the Jumpstart challenge, I will go into reintegration phase. Wowza. And that's where I will slowly start adding red foods back in. But like I said, I haven't really been struggling with that, surprisingly. And so the bright side is I get an extra week to really solidify the fact that I can get through a week without red foods, which when I reintroduce them, that means that I should be able to have more days without red foods than not, and know that it's not going to be painful. So, I mean, there's a bright side to it. I just don't really understand the timing. All right, so one of the things that the last week's lesson was on was managing cravings, and I think I brought that up last week. And one of the recommendations was to find a distraction. And I mean, and a lot of people mentioned like drinking water, which absolutely, that's always the first thing you should do, because hunger often, you often feel like you're hungry when you're actually thirsty, but hunger to me is different than cravings. So cravings are, you don't have to be hungry to have a craving. At least I don't. Maybe you do, but I don't. And cravings are things that you want to eat that they may or may not be on your program. You could easily crave healthy things. I know now that I'm drinking a lot more water, at the end of the night, if I haven't had enough, I actually crave water. Who knew that was ever going to happen? So you can crave things that are good for you, but more often than not, cravings are associated with things that aren't necessarily the best for your health. And having cravings and succumbing to them in moderation, I still, even through this program, don't believe that's a bad thing. It's when you give into cravings on a much more regular basis that it turns into a negative. So one of the things that I was doing this week, I only had cravings a couple of times, and I hadn't had cravings up until this week. So I think I had a little bit of an epiphany. So when I did have the cravings, I was distracting myself. I would go in my sewing room and work on a project. What I think the epiphany that I had is that I did not do a lot of meal prep on the weekend last week. I had a lot of things in my refrigerator to help me stay on track. So I had, boneless, skinless chicken breasts. I had chicken sausage. I had turkey burgers. I had a ton of vegetables. So I was able to throw things together from the air fryer and steaming vegetables in the microwave and whatever. I stayed on track. That was not a problem. But all of my meals were super simple, like a turkey burger and a side of steamed broccoli, or an air fried piece of chicken and with some air fried vegetables. It was all very simple. And I think and because they were simple, they were tasty, but because they were simple, I think that's what caused me to fall back into having some cravings. And I think the reason I hadn't had them up until this week is because I had cooked a couple of meals on the weekends prior that I had leftovers for, and I was able to mix and match. And those recipes were so full of flavor that even though they were healthy meals, I was getting a lot of satisfaction out of them. And so I wasn't having cravings for the cheeseburgers and the chips and the dip that I usually have when I'm trying to eat better. So my action plan this weekend is to find a couple of recipes. My goal is to find 3 well-rounded meal recipes that I can cook up tomorrow, put them in containers, things that will easily mix and match, because that was also part of the fun in the previous weeks, is I had made up some meals and I was using the sauce from this meal on the protein from this meal. And I was eating leftovers the whole week, but they were new meals every time I ate. And I think that was a key for me. So I think if I can make that a goal every week where I'm cooking 3 full meals on a Sunday so that I have mix and match leftovers for the week, I think I'll be golden. So I'm really excited about that epiphany. And so I'm going to spend time today looking up recipes and doing my grocery shopping. And then tomorrow I will do my cooking. I did make one recipe this week that I wanted to share with you guys because it was quite tasty. And it's called the slow cooker tom kha soup. It is a Thai coconut chicken soup. And it was really easy to make. I threw everything in my slow cooker. I didn't make it the way that they recommended because they had to do part of it in the slow cooker, then take all that out, then put other parts in the slow cooker. I just put it all in the slow cooker because I was working, so I just needed it to be easy, and it still came out really good. My only thing is this is truly a soup. So it's a broth with chunks of chicken in it. It's delicious, lots of flavor, but I wish that I had made some quinoa or something to serve it over. When I'm not in the jumpstart phase, I would make brown rice to serve it over, but I can't have the brown rice in the jumpstart phase, so I can have quinoa. So I wish that I would have made it over quinoa or even like some riced cauliflower or something just to give it a little bit more oomph. But other than that, it was really good. The flavors were delicious. So I will put a link to this. It came from 40 Aprons blog, so I will link the recipe in the description box if you are interested in that. It was chicken, it was onion, garlic, a jalapeno pepper, ginger, lemongrass, Thai curry paste, chicken broth, coconut milk, and it does call for coconut sugar, but because I can't have any form of sugar or sweetener in the jumpstart phase, it does give you some alternatives. And so I used coconut aminos, which I have on hand because I use that in place of soy sauce all the time. Yeah, and fish sauce, lime juice, green onions, and cilantro. All fresh ingredients, and so yeah, it was delicious. So I recommend that if you are looking for a new recipe. As far as recipes for the week, I was planning to follow the meal plan recipes that are provided by Calibrate for the Jumpstart Challenge. I will tell you that I tried a couple of the recipes. They weren't my favorites. So I kind of backed off of that, and although I had all the ingredients for everything, I ended up using the ingredients in ways that I wanted to rather than following the recipes. And so I mixed and matched ingredients and did things my own way. But yeah, if you're going to do the Jumpstart Challenge, I would just recommend testing a couple of recipes before you do the Jumpstart Challenge, just to see if it's something that you like, because you really want to have food that you're enjoying. It shouldn't be, just because we're on a weight loss or a health journey doesn't mean we shouldn't be able to enjoy our food. So I would recommend that you test a couple out before you invest in the groceries that come along with the full 2-week meal plan program. It's just my thoughts. And so that's what I have going on. That I have no new goals this week. So when I caught up with my coach yesterday, we were just recapping the last couple of weeks, and she was just letting me know I have one more week on the Jumpstart, and then the next week I will start the reintegration phase. I did have my second shot of Wegovy, which is the medication that I got put on for the program, and the shot is super easy. I don't have any trouble doing the shot. Like I said, I found a video online that helped me learn how to do it. I don't need that anymore. It's just super simple. However, I did have side effects. The only side effect that I have found so far is a little bit of nausea. It's nothing that's not manageable. I take the shots on Wednesday. Thursday morning I woke up, I was nauseous for, I don't know, maybe half an hour or an hour, and then it faded away. Yesterday, on Friday, I was nauseous for most of the day, and I don't know if that was the shot or something else, because I didn't experience that length of nausea the first shot that I took. So I feel like maybe something else was going on. I don't know. I woke up today and I feel fantastic. So it wasn't anything I couldn't manage through. I was able to work and not, I didn't feel like I couldn't work for the day. So I haven't had anything any side effects that have kept me from managing my life. So far so good. And it has reduced my hunger. So it is doing what it's supposed to do. So far so good on that. Yeah, but that's all I have. So if you are following along because you're also on a weight loss or a health journey, then let's get healthy together. And I thank you so much for joining me, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.